Good day. Our topic for today is all about abstract and interface. Let's start with abstraction. Data abstraction is the property by virtue of which only the essential details are displayed to the user. It may be also defined as the process of identifying only the required characteristics of an object, ignoring its irrelevant details. One example is a car, which is viewed as a car rather than its individual components. The man only knows that pressing the accelerators will increase the speed of the car, or by applying the brakes, which will stop the car. But the man does not know about how on pressing the accelerator, the speed is actually increasing. He does not know about the inner mechanism of the car or the implementation of this accelerator, brakes, clutch, and anything in the car. This is what abstraction is. Why we need an abstract class? Let's say we have a class animal. So this is the abstract class, which has a method sound, and its subclasses like dog, tiger, cat, and cow are its subclasses. Since the sound method declared in the abstract class animal differs from one subclass to another, there is no point to implement this method in the parent class or in the abstract class. This is because every child class must override this method to give its own implementation details. So they have different sounds. So when we know that all of these subclasses or these child classes will and should override this method sound, then there is no point to implement this method in this parent class or in this abstract class. Thus, making this method abstract would be the good choice, and we force all the subclasses to implement this method. Otherwise, you will get a compilation error. We have rules in declaring abstract class and methods. First, an abstract class is a class that is declared with the abstract keyword. We have the presence of the access modifier or specifier, followed by the keyword abstract, the class declaration, and the class name, and open and close curly braces, and some codes here inside the class body. Another rule is any class that contains one or more abstract methods must also be declared with the abstract keyword, which means that it should be declared without an implementation, or there is no method body. They are sometimes called as the general method member. So we have declared for the abstract class, and if we'll declare for a method, we have the access modifier. It's either only public, protected, or none. The keyword abstract, the return type, and the name of the method. Since there is no implementation, we will use semicolon. So kung may implementation ito, katulad sa unang create natin na methods with implementation, it is open and close curly brace. Sa loob ng method na yon ang kanyang implementation. Another, public, abstract, ang return type naman na ginamit ay void. And then the name of the method rate, another abstract method. Next, an abstract class can contain instance variables and methods that are fully implemented. Also, final methods are possible. So, methods that cannot be overridden. So, katulad rin siya ng ibang class wherein we have instance variables and methods that are fully implemented. So, in this example, abstract class employee or its instance variable is the name. And we have here methods that are fully implemented, set name and get name. So, it is also possible. Possible kasi nga, it is not declared as an abstract method. So, kung na-declare siya as abstract method, parang itong line na ito, there is no implementation. And responsible for that implementation is the subclass or its subclasses. So, dito, yung next rule, a method-defined abstract must always be redefined in the subclass, thus making overriding compulsory or either make subclass itself an abstract. So, yung kadidiscuss ko kanina, so kung nag-declare tayo ng abstract method sa ating abstract class, we have to make sure that it should be implemented or overridden by the subclass. In this example, its subclass is class instructor. Inherited extends employee, the abstract class. So, the abstract method is compute pay and ang ginawa ng class instructor is siya yung nag-perform ng implementation. So, here, it should have same access modifier or access specifier, same return type, and same method name. Of course, same parameter list also. So, nagkaiba lang kasi nawala na yung keyword na abstract because it is already implemented here. So, in abstract class employee, it is declared as abstract method because wala namang fix na pay or salary ang isang employee. So, in-implement ni class instructor kung ano yung compute pay niya. So, that is why the computation here is 15 times 850.75. So, if another class will inherit this method, so, most probably, iba rin yung magiging computation. An abstract class can contain constructors in Java, and a constructor of abstract class is called when an instance of an inherited class is created. So, pwede ring mag-create ng constructor sa ating abstract class. So, in this example, abstract class base, and we have the constructor here, displayed base constructor code, and then an abstract method fun. For class derive, inheriting the abstract class base, another constructor has been defined, similar name to the class derived, and has the displayed derived constructor code. And since the fun method here is abstract, si class derive ang nag-implement ng fun method, wherein it has this statement, derive fun code. But let's see in the main app or in the Java application class. It calls the derived class or the subclass. Derived D is equal to new derived. So, ang nire-refer nito is yung constructor. So, ang mangyayari, i-call yung derived class and then, bago niya i-display yung na-implement sa loob ng constructor derived, i-inherit muna niya yung constructor doon sa superclass or the abstract class, which is base constructor code. So, unahin muna ito, saka ipe-perform yung nandoon sa constructor on derived. So, that is the output. Since hindi na-access yung fun method here, hindi rin madi-display yung derived fun code here. There can be no object of an abstract class. That is, an abstract class cannot be directly instantiated with the new operator. So, hindi katulad ng usual na superclass that we can instantiate. But here, we have this example abstract class employee, and example its subclass class instructor extends employee. So, hindi possible yung employee emp or the object is equal to new employee. So, dedirekta dito. So, if this is not an abstract, it is possible. Yung superclass natin is possible for instantiation. Okay, but since this is abstract class, it is not possible. If you want to instantiate it, this would be the possible code. The name of the abstract class followed the object or the reference is equal to new and then its subclass. So, ang mangyayari, i-access muna yung superclass or the abstract class and then its subclass. So, now let's have a coding demonstration. So, ito yung ating ipoprogram, yung class animal and together with its subclasses. So, ang gagawin natin, we will place all of our classes in a single file. So, the abstract class and the subclasses together with the Java application class. So, we'll create new file and then we'll name it, since ilalagay na natin siya minsanan, so yung demo or yung Java app yung magiging class name natin. Then, let's declare first for the Java application class. So, public class animal demo and then the main method. So, balikan natin yan later. So, mag-start muna tayo with the abstract class. So, our abstract class here is class animal. So, in declaring for it, we have the keyword abstract. So, hindi na tayo magdi-declare dito as public. It's because ilalagay na kasi natin lahat sa iisang file. So, ang declared as public class lang is yung ating Java application class. Okay, so, kung ito ay naka-separate file, that is the time now you will declare it as public. So, abstract, class, and then animal. So, if we want to declare an instance, variables, and methods that are fully implemented, it is possible. So, based on sa rules. So, dito, maybe we can set for the name. So, we'll encapsulate private string name. And then, we'll use the setter and getter methods. Public void set name. Then we'll pass string name. Then this.name is equal to name. And then next we have the getter or the accessor method. Usually it returns a value. So yung ating i-return ay name. So its return type should be string. Then get name. And then we'll return name. We have to return because of its return type. Now, let's declare for the abstract method sound. As discussed earlier, so ang mag-i-implement nito ay yung ating mga subclasses. Kaya ang gagawin lang natin is we'll declare for its general method member. We'll declare it public abstract void. So ang abstract method is it's either a returning value method or a void method. So, dito ang gawin natin, it's a void method. Sound. Then, semicolon. So, we're through with our abstract class. Now, let's proceed to one of the subclasses. So, start tayo kay dog. Class, dog, extends, animal. So, ang gagawin natin, inherit na lang natin later on. So, mai-inherit naman yung set name and get name because we have the keyword extends. In this part, we'll implement the sound method. So, in doing that, it should have the same access modifier. We'll just remove the keyword abstract if we will implement it. And then the return type void, and sound. And dito na natin ilalagay yung sound ng class dog. So this is void, will not return. So most probably dito na rin natin i-display dog sound. Ito yung abstract method natin. Tapos in-implement nung subclass dog. Okay. Next, let's have the cat. So, para hindi mahaba yung codes natin, siguro kahit hanggang 2 subclass na lang, cat. So, this is cat sound, and then this is meow. Okay, so that is how to inherit an abstract class. Next, let's proceed to the Java application class. So, dito, since nasa iisang file na tayo, so dito na tayo magdi-declare ng instance of the class. So, we will create 2 objects. 1 object for the dog and 1 object for class cat. So, let's have first dog. D is equal to new dog. Start muna tayo with the class dog. And then, we'll set for the name. So, maglagay tayo ng pangalan. So, hindi na i-declare dito yung set name and get name, but we have there the extends keyword. So, meaning, may inherit yung set name and get name. So, d.setName. So, let's have just a short recap for this. So, this is set name. Dapat magmamatch sa parameter rin dito na i-declare. So, set name is string name. So, maglalagay tayo dito ng string value. So, example, brownie. And then, we'll display for the name. Kasi dito basta-basta ma-i-display. So, gamitin natin yung get name. And it returns, hindi na i-display dito. Kaya, dito natin siya i-display. System.out.println. Then, we'll append by accessing it using our reference d.getName. So, na-set at na-return and na-display na yung value which is brownie. Now, let's have the sound. So, for the sound, D again using the reference to class dog dot sound. So, we'll just access the sound method. We don't need to display it because it has been displayed already in the implementation. Of course, we'll create another object for cat. Cat C is equal to new cat. So, parang same lang din yung codes nila. So, just change it to C. And this is C. Then, we'll just name it Kitty. So, dito set at get name, galing pa rin sa extends animal. So, na-inherit. So, let's run. Dog's name, brownie, dog sound. Kasi yun yung una nating in-access. And then, dog, hindi na-edit, sorry. Sa kaka-copy-paste, hindi na na-edit. This should be cat's name. Run ulit natin. Yun. Cat's name and cat sound. So, yun lang naman ang difference sa abstract class. We will set a general method member and the subclasses will be responsible in the implementation. Next, let's proceed with interface. So, interface is a reference type in Java. It is a collection of abstract methods. A class implements an interface, thereby inheriting the abstract methods of the interface. Interface is not a class. Writing an interface is similar to writing a class. But take note, a class describes the attributes and behaviors of an object. So, class, kasali na rin dito yung abstract class. We can declare for an instance variables. We can declare for methods. But in an interface, it only contains behaviors that a class implements. So it's just purely methods. An interface is similar to a class in the following ways. An interface can contain any number of methods. An interface is written in a file with a .java extension with the name of the interface matching the name of the file. So, in declaring for it, instead of using the keyword class, we'll use the keyword interface and the name of the interface. In saving for this file, same rin example1.java. An interface is different from a class in several ways. First, you cannot instantiate an interface. So if we have here an example, interface example1, hindi possible yung example1a is equal to new example1. So we cannot instantiate or we cannot declare an instance to interface. All of the methods in an interface are implicitly abstract and public. Okay? So how it differs to the abstract method? Actually, they have the same function. But in terms of declaration, in the abstract method, it should be declared inside the abstract class and with the presence of the abstract keyword. But if you will declare for the method inside an interface, it is automatically abstract already and public. Kahit hindi mo nalagyan ng abstract keyword, automatic, it is abstract methods already. And it is, again, another general method member. Ang responsible for the implementation is the class that will implement this interface. An interface cannot contain instance field or it cannot contain instance variables. And if there is or if there are instance variables, they can appear in an interface are implicitly static, final, or constants and public. So kung magsiset tayo doon ng instance variables, it is already final or a constant value. An interface is not extended by a class. It is implemented by a class. So in this example, interface example 1, at i-inherit siya ng class, it's not possible to have this one. Class demo extends example 1. So this is only applicable if ang i-inherit ay class. But here, ang i-inherit ay interface, so the keyword extends is not possible. Kaya, ang gagamiting keyword ay implements. So that means the class implements an interface, which is example 1. A class can implement multiple interfaces. So example here, interface playable and interface card game. There are two interfaces. So pwedeng one at a time na i-implement ng class. So here, class hearts implements playable, card game. Meaning, interface playable and interface card game ay na-implement ng class hearts. An interface is extended by another interface. So kung kanina, hindi mai-extend yung class, dito, ang mai-extend lang niya is another interface. So example, interface example 1. So kung another interface, it's possible. So interface example 2 extends example 1. Okay, so I hope hindi kayo nalilito dito. An interface also can extend multiple interfaces. So interface example 3 extends example 1, example 2. Okay, so if you will recall, extends is not possible for a class. So kung class yan, that is implements. Pwede rin at the same time, a class can extend another class and implement interfaces. So for example, we have class A. and then interface B. So, class C extends A. So, kung class ito, class yung mag-i-inherit, ang i-inherit niya ay class. So, we use here keyword extends. Extends A. And then, kung ang i-inherit ay interface, implements B. So, let's try to create a simple program applying interface. So, we'll create a file and ilagay natin lahat sa iisang file yung ating interface and the main class. So, we'll name it interface demo. Then, let's declare for the class, public class interface demo. Then, the main method. So, now let's proceed with the declaration of the interface. So, mamaya natin ito itutuloy yung sa ating Java application class. So, the keyword interface followed by the name. Say, for instance, A. Okay. So, in the interface, ang i-declare lang natin dito ay methods. And automatically, this is an abstract method or it is a general method member. But since interface yung ginamit natin, we don't need to use the keyword abstract already because automatically abstract na siya. Okay? What we'll be needing is the public access modifier together with the return type, void, and the name of the method. Say for instance, play. This will be implemented by the subclass who will implement this interface. Another public, ang gawin naman natin, it is a returning value method. Say for instance, string sum. Okay. Next, let's have the class who will implement the interface. So, class B, example. Since ito ay interface, so our keyword is implements A. So, kung nataon na class ito, extends yung keyword natin. But this is interface, so we use implements. And class B now is responsible in implementing the play method and the sound method. So, public void play. Okay. Say for instance, we'll just display play method. So, system.out.println play method. Okay, next, we have public string sound. So, take note, this is a returning value method. So, instead of displaying, we'll just return the string value. So, return example sound method. Next, let's declare for an instance. So, take note, we cannot declare for an instance to interface. That is not possible. So, we'll declare for the instance for class B. So, B space our reference, example BB is equal to new B. And then, we'll now access the methods play and sound. We use the reference bb.play and then bb.sound. So, take note, the sound is a returning value method and it does not print the sound method. So, dito natin siya i-display. So, if we'll try to run this file, so, na-display yung play method and sound method. So, this portion, bb.play, calling this one, kaya na-display yung play method and displaying bb.sound coming from this line. Another, paano kung maglalagay tayo ng another interface? So, interface C. Okay, for instance, we'll declare public void sum. We'll input two numbers and get for the sum. Okay. So, yan yung isang interface. And then, implement ni class B. So, if we will implement multiple interfaces, we just use comma C. Class B implements A, comma C. Kaya implement natin itong method na ito sa class B. Yan. This is void. So maybe int c is equal to a plus b, and then we'll print stem that out, that print line plus c. We'll call for the method sum using the object bb. bb.sum. But take note, in the sum, it has two integer values. So, maglagay tayo dyan 5 and 4. 5 now will be received by A, 4 by B. So, 5 plus 4, the sum is 9. So, it will run. So, that is a simple program applying interface. And lastly, we have the summarized difference between an abstract and interface. So an abstract can extend only one class or one abstract class at a time, while for interface, it can extend any number of interfaces at a time. It can extend another concrete or regular class or abstract class, but for interface, it can only extend another interface. It can have both abstract and concrete methods, while for interface, only abstract methods. For abstract, the keyword abstract is mandatory. So as mentioned ko rin yan earlier, mandatory to declare a method as an abstract class. While for interface, it is optional. Kasi automatically, the method is considered abstract. It can have protected and public abstract methods, but for interface, only public abstract methods. For abstract, it can have static final or static final variable with any access specifier. But for here, it can only have, for interface, it can only have public static final or constant variable. So that ends our lesson for today on abstract and interface. Our next lesson is the graphical user interface. Thank you for watching and have a great day to everyone.